Good morning, students. I hope everyone did the eye exercise. Stay safe and healthy at home. Eat healthy food. Keep your surroundings healthy and hygienic. Don't go outside unnecessarily. Let us start the class with some interesting fact about blood, because we are going to discuss about blood, which is a fluid connective tissue. You can see here a person has 5 to 6 liters of blood in their body. How much liter we are having? 5 to 6 liters of blood in our body. A person can donate blood every 90 days. That is, for every 3 months, a healthy person can donate his blood. So donating what will do? It will quickly recover. A body recovers the blood very quickly. That is the body plasma volume within 24 to 48 hours. In 1 or 2 days it will be recovered. Red blood cells, about in 3 weeks it will be again, you will gain it. And platelets and white blood cells, within a minute you will be recovering. So donating a blood will refresh your body also. So it is a very good one. So as you grow up, once you're grown up, once you're after 20 or 21, you can donate your blood. If you are a very healthy person, you can donate always, once in 3 months. And you can see another fact here. A liver transplant patient on average will need 6 to 10 units of red blood cells, 20 units of plasma and 10 units of platelets. So you can understand the importance of blood donation here. So always you can donate if you are healthy. Once you are grown up, you can donate your blood for every 3 months, because it will help lots of lives. So many people, they are suffering from so many diseases due to some road accidents, or due to some health issues, or some transplantations which will require a lot of blood. So if you donate, means it will help so many lives, so which you will earn, it will return for you as blessing in your life. Okay, today let's recap what all we discussed in the last class. In the last class, we started with the connective tissue. We saw connective tissue proper, supportive connective tissue, dense connective tissue, like areolar and adipose under connective tissue proper, cartilage and bones under supportive connective tissue, tendons and ligament under dense connective tissue. Today we are going to discuss fluid connective tissue and muscular tissue and nervous tissue. Let's see one by one. First we have is fluid connective tissue. So this fluid connective tissue is the blood and the lymph are the fluid connective tissue. What are the fluid connective tissue? Lymph and the blood are the fluid connective tissue which link different parts of the body. The cells of the connective tissues are loosely spaced and are embedded in an intercellular matrix. They are packed. Embedded means packed in an intercellular matrix. So we all know matrix, it is nothing but a semi-fluid ground substance. In the last class we discussed. So first we have is blood. Blood contains corpuscles. Corpuscles means minute cells. We call it as corpuscles. So what are those minute cells? Are red blood cells, which is otherwise called as erythrocytes. That is erythrocytes. White blood cells, which is otherwise called as leukocytes. You can see here leukocytes and platelets. In this fluid connective tissue, blood cells move in a fluid matrix. We call it as plasma. How these cells are moving? They are moving in a fluid matrix which we call it as plasma. So this is how the cells are in blood. The blood is composed of red blood cells, white blood cells and platelets, and the fluid is plasma. So let us discuss them. The plasma contains inorganic salts and organic substances. It is a main circulating fluid that helps in the transport of nutrient substances, which will contain and which will take nutrients from the parts to the other parts of the body. So this plasma will carry not only the blood but all blood cells, but also the nutrients to the other parts of the body. So these are the cells of blood. This is the erythrocyte. and monocyte, lymphocyte, eosinophil, neutrophil, basophil. Let's discuss them now. First we have is erythrocyte, which is our red blood cell. The red blood corpuscle or oval shaped, circular and biconcave. Biconcave means concave in both the sides. Disc-like, biconcave disc-like cells and lack nucleus. They don't have any nucleus when they are matured. Matured means when they are completely grown up. They contain a respiratory pigment called hemoglobin. What do they have? Hemoglobin, which is involved in the transport of oxygen to tissues. So this red blood cells only, it is having a respiratory pigment which will carry the oxygen. Okay, which will carry the oxygen to the other tissues. Next is white blood cells. They are leukocytes. They are large in size, contain distinct nuclei and they are colorless. What is the color? Since it is white in color, they are colorless. They are capable of amoeboid movement. Amoeboid movement means they don't have any proper locomotive organ at all. For movement, they don't have any organ. They just move along with the fluid and play an important role in our body's defense mechanism. Defense means what? Fighting against something. They engulf or destroy. Engulfing means just throwing away something. Destroy foreign bodies. That is, if any new virus or anything, if it is coming inside, means this white blood cells will fight against them. They are of two types. One is granulocytes, the other one is agranulocytes. What are they? Granulocytes and agranulocytes. These granulocytes have irregular shaped nuclei and cytoplasmic granules. They include neutrophils, basophils and eosinophils. Agranulocytes lack cytoplasmic granules. Agranulocytes means absence of granulocytes and include the lymphocytes and monocytes. You can see here, this is having agranulocytes having monocyte and lymphocyte, granulocytes having eosinophil, neutrophil and basophil. Next is blood platelets. They are minute anucleated, means A means absence. They don't have any nuclei. Fragile means very thin and weak fragments of giant bone marrow called megakaryocytes. They play an important role in the blood clotting mechanism. Because when these blood platelets will help when you're having any wound suddenly in your knees or on your hand, first the blood will start to bleed and after some time it will stop. Yes or no? Because of this blood platelets only it is happening, because it will make the blood, these blood platelets will make the blood to clot so that there won't be much of blood loss at all. Next is lymph. Lymph is also a fluid which is colorless fluid filtered out of the blood capillaries. It consists of plasma and white blood cells. It mainly helps in the exchange of materials between blood and tissue fluid. Between what? Blood and tissue fluid. So you can see the summary of blood function here. What is the function of WBC? Defense mechanism, fighting against new bacteria and viruses or any disease causing viruses coming inside our body, means this WBC will fight against it. Next, RBC, if you take, it will carry an oxygen. It is carrying an oxygen, that is, it is having a respiratory pigment so that it carries an oxygen to all the parts of the body. Platelets will stop bleeding, so it will stop bleeding by clotting the blood. So you should remember this always, which is very, very important for your general knowledge also. WBC means defense mechanism. RBC means carry oxygen. Platelets, it will stop bleeding. Okay. So and this is how the blood vessel will look like. The white WBCs are here. You can see the platelets and the RBC. And blood plasma is here, which is a blood liquid. Okay. It is also a fluid. Next, we are moving on to muscular tissue. So, here muscular tissue is according to their structure, location and function, they are classified. First, let us see what is this muscular tissue. They form an Major part of contractile tissue. Contractile tissue means they have a property to contract, to shrink. They are composed of numerous myofibrils. Each muscle is made up of long cylindrical fibers and arranged parallel to one another. When we see the picture of muscular tissue, we will understand what it is. And these are classified based on the structure, location and function. They are skeletal muscle. You can see skeletal muscle or striated, smooth muscle or non-striated, and then cardiac muscle. Striated, it is nothing but stripes. Okay. Skeletal muscle first. These muscles are attached to the bones and are responsible for the body movement and are called skeletal muscle. So they are what? They are attached to the bones and they are responsible for our body movement. If you are moving your hand, if you are moving your leg or head, your neck, everything means it is because of the skeletal muscle only. They work under our control. If you move your neck only, it will move. If you move your hand, if your brain gives a message to your hand to move your hand only, you will move. So it is working under our control. Then we call it as voluntary muscle. The muscle fibers are elongated, cylindrical, unbranched with alternating dark and light band. We will see the picture now, giving them the striped or striated appearance. They possess many nuclei, that is why we call it as multinucleate. They occur in the biceps and triceps of our arms and undergo rapid contraction. So you can see the skeletal muscle here. So it is having a bands. 1/3 bands are here and they are having nucleus and they are striated means stripes. You can see the compartments. Yes or no? They are striated. Next is smooth muscle. These muscles are spindle shaped. We will see what is meant by spindle shaped while seeing the picture, with broad middle part and tapering ends. Tapering ends already we have seen in studying while plant tissues. They will becoming thin and narrow towards the end. We call it as tapering ends. The single centrally nuclei. There is a centrally presented one single nuclei which is uninucleated. These fibrils do not bear any stripes and all. That is why they are called as non-striated. They don't have any stripes at all. They are not under the control of our will and also called as involuntary muscle because they are present in you can see them in the urinary bladder, gastric glands, internal villi, all these places you can see the smooth muscle. There and all, we don't give any message to work under them. So it is not working under our control. So it is a involuntary muscle. So you can see the picture here. So they are having tapering ends, becoming thin and narrow towards the end. They don't have any stripes at all. They are non-striated and it is uninucleated. It is having only one nuclei. This is called spindle shaped. Okay. Next is cardiac muscle. It is a special contractile. Contractile means what? Having the capacity to contract, which means shrink, surungdal solvanga. Tissue present in the heart. The muscle fibers are cylindrical, branched and uninucleate. The branches join to form a network called as intercalated disc. We will see in the picture, which are unique, distinguishing features of the cardiac muscle. Unlike the other two muscles, no others have this intercalated disc. Only this cardiac muscle is having this intercalated disc. The contraction of the cardiac muscle is involuntary and rhythmic, which is you can see the involuntary means they are not contracting because of our message. It is not under our control. So it is doing by itself. So you can see the cardiac muscle here. So in between, can you see some white color space? That is, we call it as intercalated disc. They are having only one nuclei. They are also striated like skeletal muscle. Is it clear, children? Next, finally, we are moving on to nervous tissue. Nervous tissue comprises of the nerve cells or neurons. This is very, very important 5-mark question which will be repeated in your final exams or any other quarterly and half-yearly exams. You will get this question very often. They are largest cells of the body. Who is the longest cell in the body? Nervous tissue. Neurons are the structural and functional unit of the nervous tissue. Who is the structural and functional unit of nervous tissue? Neurons. The elongated and slender process of the neurons are the nerve fibers. Each neuron consists of cell body or cyton with nucleus and cytoplasm. The dendrons are short and highly branched protoplasmic process of cyton, and then each nucleus the axon is a single fiber like process that develops from the cyton and ends up with the fine terminal branches. When you see the picture, you can see here, you can see the axon which is starting from here and then it ends with the terminal endings. The outer part of this axon, we call it as this myelin sheath. In between you can see the nodes. You can see nodes, yes or no? We call them as nodes of Ranvier. We call them as nodes of Ranvier. You can see the cell body which is having a nuclei at the center and then dendrites. Okay, so let us summarize. Today we have seen blood connective tissue. Under blood connective tissue we discussed blood and lymph. Under blood we have red blood cells, white blood cells and blood platelets, and then we discussed the lymph in detail. And muscular tissue, under muscular tissue we discussed the skeletal muscle, smooth muscle and cardiac muscle, and finally nervous tissue. I hope you all understood this topic. The next class I'll meet you with another topic. Until then, thank you children.